So we're going to talk about pictures and stuff, files, what they are and how to work with them and make it easy. Because I asked this question, how many of you got 4 million pictures on your computer? Yeah. You know what happens to a lot of folks that I work with is some of them are really camera happy. Like even camera happy for me, it's like too many pictures. But what happens is you get so many on there, and what are they called? P9074827, P9048228. You know, who came up with those names anyways? But that's what you got on your computer. So what happens is it's daunting to go in there and try to sort them out, so you never do it. And since you never do it, you also never look at them. So here we go through our lives taking 4 billion pictures, and we never look at them anyways because it's too much work. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to show you, is some tricks and tips to help you rename them really quickly. Like from your vacation, when you put them in a folder, you can rename them, and I'll show you how I rename them. But if you just rename them and you press enter, it renames them all of them, just like that. And we'll go through that technique. That's a big thing. And how to pick certain files, like instead of picking just one, how do you pick more than one? How do you pick 3? We're going to do that. Okay? So what we're going to cover, since I'm on that slide, I guess I should go there. File overview, and then selecting files. That's really important. It's really important to learn that technique, or at least get an idea of it. And you can stop me anytime and ask me a question. Okay? This is kind of hard because you're going to look at this computer up here on the screen, and it's Windows 7. Is anybody still running Windows XP here? Okay, we're trickling out of that. You are over there? Okay, it's very similar, but it is a little different. I kind of cover a little of that, okay? But it's more geared for Windows 7 and newer. But everything I talk about does work in Windows XP. So what I show you when you go home, if you got Windows 10 or you got Windows 8, may not look exactly like this, but it'll be very close. Yes?
Is the Mac completely different?
Not really. The key is not control. I believe it's the command key to select multiple files. But basically it's the same. It works the same. So that's a good point. Does anybody else have a Mac here? Okay? Very good. Okay.
I'm learning how to use them.
There you go. There was a time when Macs were so much easier than a PC, but with Windows 7, 8, and 10, it's amazing how similar they're getting, and it's pretty easy to use them all right now. So, okay, and then I have something at the end of the class. Okay, for those of you that are not bored to sleep in the first 5 minutes, okay? All right, we won't wake you up, I promise. But if you're interested, some of the techniques that I'm going to do here are pretty valuable for making some interesting things with your pictures. Would you like to see an example of that right now? Okay. Actually, I really shouldn't have said it was interesting. It's one of my vacation things. It's probably not all that interesting to you, but I think you get the idea. Yes. Oh, sorry. So this right here was a bunch of pictures. Who wants to look at pictures when you can do that? Bonus points for anybody who knows the song. That's the Erie Canal right there. They dug it up. They poured it over for 50 years, but they found it. There it is. What's that?
What was a submarine 703 back there?
That's there was a little place right there where you could actually, we toured that submarine. That was just the conning tower of one of them.
I saw that.
But there was a whole sub right behind it. We got to go through it and all of that. But the thing is, I took all those pictures, I threw them in a little program, and I said, add this song and this song, and I said, make a movie out of it. That's how hard it is. I'm not exaggerating. And I said, do it. And when it was done, I had that movie right there. That's it. There's no cooler way to look at your pictures than to look at them like that, because you got music in them or other things. Yes?
Is that similar to a slideshow?
Very similar to on the Mac. You could do the same thing. Yep. But it's surprising to me because Microsoft, who makes Windows, they don't tell you they have any creative, cool stuff built in there. But if you're interested at the end of this, I don't want to make the whole class about it, but if you're interested, somebody throw a pencil at me or something to remind me to do that, and we can look at that. The other cool thing that we're going to touch on is what's called a panoramic. So you got pictures, right? You ever taken a picture and it's not big enough? Now, today everybody's got a camera. You got a camera in your phone, pretty much everybody, okay. Usually it's got a thing where you can touch it and you say, take a panoramic, and you can do this, okay? That's usually pretty good, but 100 years ago nobody had one of those. And there's some free stuff out there where you can stitch pictures together. So you take them left to right, and you can just stitch them, and look at that. So if you don't have your phone with you, there's some free software out there. It's made by Microsoft. You can just grab the pictures. It'll make a beautiful panoramic for you. Okay. You ever done that? No? Well, we might. So there's a couple of things that parts of this class are kind of cool to do. So if you're interested, let me know at the end, okay? All right. Okay, so where do our files come from? What are they? What are files? They're just little bits of data. And 100 years ago, like back when I was young, okay, they came up with the file cabinet method. And they still use it today. Macs use it, PCs use it, everything uses it. Because when you're organizing all your stuff, you open a drawer on a file cabinet, you put a manila folder in it, you put a little label on it, and you stick a bunch of stuff in it. You should see teaching this class to young kids. They're like, what are you talking about? It's like telling them what a record is. No, it was plastic. It was vinyl. It had a needle thing, and it went around in circles. And they're like, what? You know, they've never heard of it, you know. So, but years ago, we used to have a lot more scanners than we do today. That's what you would want to use to take those pictures. It's not that hard to do. Her question was, you know, I don't have digital pictures. My pictures are in a box. What do I do with them? If you got a lot of time on your hands, you can scan them. And I got a scanner, and it's got a little thingy that if you got the negatives, you can slide them in and do the negatives if you don't got the pictures anymore. So that's kind of cool. But wow, you want to tie up a few weekends of your life? Yeah, like for the next 50? You can take all of those pictures in that box or boxes. You can ship them to a company. There's a few of them that still do it. They do a great job. They will take those pictures, they will run them through a machine, and then they'll send you back a disc, or they'll send you one of these. So it'll cost you a few bucks, but man, it's really worth it to say, because it's a grueling process. It's okay for onesies or twosies, but scanners do a nice job making pictures, but it's a lot of work, okay? Sorry. So your scanners make your files. Your digital cameras make your files. Your phones make your files. Microsoft Word. When's the last time you typed up something in Word?
A couple days ago.
Yeah, okay. When you type that and you save it, it's a file. It's a data file. You stick it in a folder. On a Mac, it might be, you know, your documents folder. You might make a little folder underneath it, but it's the same thing on a PC. It's no different. It's always the same. Images, somebody sends you a picture on an email and you want to save it. You right-click on it, you save it, you put it somewhere. That's a file that's going on your hard drive, which is like your file cabinet. Every PC since Windows 95 has used the same thing. They've had my documents, my pictures, my videos. It's always the same. It's the same thing on my Macs. I believe it still is, isn't it? So you got pictures, documents, videos, same folder structure. In Vista, Windows 7, 8, and 10, now it's not called My Documents, it's called Documents. Okay, so it's a little bit different for, I'll say those of you, but it's just you running XP.
No,
but
I apologize.
No, it's okay.
Windows 7.
That's okay. So for the old days and for folks that still have the older computers, it's just a little bit different phrasing is all. It's not much different. So what I take, we're going to do this in a minute. I actually brought a camera in, took a couple pictures. We're going to go through the process of taking them from here into the computer and then doing stuff with them. Okay? All right. But before we get on to that, the thing that you really need to know is this slide right here. This is really important because I only have a few pictures on here for testing, but we've already gone over that some folks may have 4 million of them. Okay? So one of the key things to look at is In Windows, if you hit this round button in the lower left, see it over there? You hit that button, it usually comes up and looks something like this, doesn't it? Okay, so you could go to, this says computer. Can you read that back there? Okay, might say my computer if you got an older one, but I'm going to go to one that says pictures. And I can click that and it will open up my pictures folder. Okay? You could also go to that round button and you can say computer. That opens up the whole computer, and if you look on the left hand side, there's some folders over there. You see this one right here? Where my mouse is? Can you read that back there? It says pictures. So if you click on that, you're in the same place. It's just different ways of getting to the same place. Okay? But once you're in there, that's where the magic happens. So I've got a folder right here. See these pictures right here? These are files. They just happen to be picture files. And they got icky names under them. You see that? Yeah, looks like something like that when it comes out of your camera. Which one's which? Who knows? That's right, the shadow knows. Yeah, Lamont Cranston. Who's old enough to know that? Right. Yes. So one of the biggest things I could teach you is how do you pick your files. So if I click on this file right here, you see it turn blue? But if I click on the one next to it, what happened? That first one's no longer blue, is it? What if I want to select them both and do something? What if I want to delete both of those? Yes. If I click on the first one with my mousey, see my mouse here? Okay? And on the keyboard, there's a key you don't use very much. It's on the very bottom, on the lower left, and it's called Control. It says CTRL on it. And I believe on the Apple it would be the Command key that would do the same thing. But if I hold the Control key, you see that animated, watch this, sound effects and all, see that? I'm holding that key down. If I click this one, that one, that one, and that one, do you see they all turn blue? Now if I press delete on my keyboard, those, wait, 5, higher math, sorry about that, those 5 would be gone. So the Control key is a magic key when you're trying to do this stuff. But I only have a few in here, right? When's the last time you came back from vacation and you had 10 pictures? I know when it was, back when you used to use film. Yeah, So now that we have digital cameras and we have 400 pictures of everything we do, because you know, you might want to throw 40 of them away, right? What if there were hundreds of them in here and I wanted to select all of them? How would I do that? Well, there's a bunch of ways. I can do it just like that. You notice they're all selected now? I should be a magician, huh? How did I select all of them? There's a couple ways to do it. First off, excuse me, you can click the first picture, and if you hold Shift, I'm holding the Shift key down and I click this picture right here, you see where my mouse is? You see how it selected everything in between. So holding the Control key and clicking pictures is individual segments, okay? Now we're going to do something really advanced in a sec once you guys are done writing. And the Shift key, you click the first one and then you Shift click the last one. Like, I didn't grab all of these because maybe I don't want them all. But what if I wanted a bunch in a row and then a bunch more in a row? Okay, we're going to use a combination of the Control and the Shift key. So it's not really that hard. Sounds weird, but if I pick this first one and I Shift pick this one, you notice how it picked all 4 of them in a row? Well, if I hold Control now and I select this one, it did not unselect the first ones because I'm holding Control. And on a Mac that would be the Command key. So what if I did a Control and a Shift and that one? So I used the 2 keys to select a group of pictures, skipped some, and then I did a Control Shift click to get the rest. Does that make sense? Let's do it again. So we're going to pick the first one. I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to pick this one. Now that could be 30 of them. It's only 3 in our example, but you could have just picked 30 pictures in a row. If I hold Control and I pick the next one that I want, and then I hold Control Shift click. You see how I'm doing that? I use the Control key to grab one, and then Control and Shift to get a bunch more. Why am I doing this? Well, because when you're managing lots of pictures, knowing how to select a whole bunch in a group is the magic. Okay, the other part of this is how do you select them all once you're in a folder? How do you do that? Well, if you're running Windows 8 or Windows 10, right up on top here, there's a ribbon. I don't have that because this is Windows 7, and there's a little button there that says Select All. Clever, aren't they? Clever little beasties. However, I can go to Organize with Windows 7. You see that right there? And then I can say Select All. But I'm way too lazy for that. Way too lazy. Any of you that know me, serious. What I would do is I just click somewhere in the folder and I hold Control and I press the letter A for all. Control A just selects it all. Okay? Last little bit, what's the difference between delete and shift delete? It's actually not in your notes, but I just thought of it. Things happen, they fall out of my head sometimes, so there they are. Let's say this picture right here was really, really, really blurry. Okay? There's no chance I want that picture. And let's say this picture over here was really, 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 really blurry. There's no chance I want that picture. What key did I just teach you that I can select those 2 individual files? The Control key. Very good. We're going to keep doing that. That's how you learn. So I'm going to pick this one, and then I'm going to Control pick that one. Because I'm looking at them and, oh, they're terrible pictures. In fact, they got me in them, so they really got to go, you know, serious. If I press delete and I say yes, it's asking us a question. You want to move them to the recycle bin. Okay, now that's the trash on the Mac. And there's a key, just the same key on this. I actually think it's the shift key that does it on the Mac. But, so let's do that. I said yes. If you notice, 2 of them disappeared. Did you see that? Okay. So when I go to my recycle bin, can everybody see that out there? There's a couple of pieces in there, and 2 of them are those pictures. Okay. Well, you don't need to know what I'm doing right now, but if I select them by Control clicking them, and I right click, I can say Restore. That'll take them out of the recycle bin and put them back where they were. But so now I'm going to go to my folder, which is Pictures, my Classes folder, and then this one. The difference between delete and shift delete is shift delete is permanent. There's no recovery for it. There's no recycle bin. But if it's a picture you know for sure you're never going to want, why would you put it in the recycle bin to go empty the recycle bin? Make sense? So if I pick this one, and I pick this one with my what key? Very good, man. If there was donuts, you guys would all have them right now. If I said shift and then I press delete on my keyboard, you notice the text says something different too. It doesn't say do you want to move these to the recycle bin. It says nuke them. It says do you want to permanently delete them. Okay? So if I said yes, they'd be gone, and there's no recovering them. They're gone. Okay?
That works for other files too.
Everything works for Word documents. Good point, Dorothy. She asked. Yep, she asked if it works for Word documents, other things. Absolutely, it's the same thing. These just happen to be pictures. Okay, so I'm going to say no. Then the last bit of the file management techniques that I want to show you is you can see these pictures, can't you? Boy, is that annoying for a guy like me. Because if you've got 400 pictures, it takes a while to scroll through this folder because you scroll and it's got to fill them in, and you scroll and it's got to fill them in. There are different view modes. Now on Windows 10 and Windows 8, there's actually some tabs up here. One of them says View. Clever, aren't they? And you can pick the different views that I'm going to show you. Right now, these are called icons, thumbnails. They are large. If I went to this thing right here, see this little thingy over here? Kind of looks like a window pane. If I select that and I said Details, now I can see the guts. This is the good stuff for me. Okay? The other one's nice, it's cool, but this is the best stuff for a guy like me. Also, do you notice each of these say .jpg on them? Okay. It's usually pretty important for you to make sure those are on. I'm going to turn them off and then show you how to turn them back on. Most computers, you see they don't have the .jpg on them anymore. That's really important if you're looking for a .bmp, a .doc file. If you're trying to rename a .doc file as something else, you can't. You can't rename it because you can't see the last 3 digits. Does that make sense? If you work with files a lot, it will. So you would want to, in Windows 8 and Windows 10, up in that little ribbon under View, there's just a little checkbox that says Hide the Extensions. Well, in Windows 7, you've got to go to Organize, to the Folder and Search options, and then there's the View. So it's a couple more steps, but you get to the same place, and it says right here, you can read that, it says Hide the Extensions. Well, I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to say OK, and now we've got our .jpg back. Does that make sense? That's important when you're working with files. We're going to do something in a minute to rename all of these, but then we're going to put something inside one of these, and we're going to search for them. So, have you ever done a search up here in the upper right corner for your files? Okay, if I did a search, can you guys read the letters on the screen back there? Okay, each one of these files has DSC something in it, right? Okay, so if I put DSC up in this little search bar, well, of course they all come up. They're all named that. Okay, we're going to rename them all. And then I'm going to show you how to put a little tag or a comment inside the picture. Wouldn't make any difference to you, but what if there was a picture from your vacation this year? Where are we going? Somebody pick somewhere warm. Where are we going? Belize. Let's go to Belize. How's that? Nice little Central American country. So I might make a folder in my pictures, which we're going to do, and I might say my 2016 vacation. And I might put 400 pictures in there, right? But what if one of them pictures, named 2016 Vacation 412, it's not very descriptive of what it is. What if I could put a little piece of information inside that picture that said, this has my dog in it? And then I could search up here and I could say, Fido. And now, of course, nothing's going to come up on my computer because we don't have any. They're not named Fido, and there's no little tag in them, but you're going to magically find it. Okay? Alright. Fido, really? Does anybody got a dog named Fido? Seriously? What did that pop into my head? I don't know. Okay. I guess I better find out where we're at in the PowerPoint here, too. So, digital cameras are great, but they can be really difficult to manage. How many of you got one something like this? Something similar? Okay. Alright. A lot of people are using their phones now. Phones are pretty good. Even the best phone, though, just doesn't take as good of a picture as a good camera. There's a reason for that. Cameras are all about the glass, no matter what camera it is. Can you see this right there? That little beady hole? That's the glass and that's the lens of my iPhone 5S, the company's iPhone 5S. You see the difference between the glass and the lens on this one? It's all about the glass. Now that phone's going to have software in it that'll sharpen a picture up and it'll do nice things. But we just did this this week, took a couple pictures of some employees for things, and you could the phone pictures looked okay, but the pictures on the camera, there's night and day difference. So a lot of folks only use a phone, but I still like having a camera. So all these cameras have something in them called a chip. How many of you got a camera that has a cable that you got to plug in? Cable, okay. This one you can plug in. There's a little USB thingy on the bottom, and I could plug it in to my computer, but it takes so long doing it that way. Mine's got a little door you pop open, and it's got a little chip in it. You ever seen one of these? Okay. On the other computer, it can slide right into the side. It pops right in, but this computer doesn't have it, so for like $9, I got one of these. Anybody seen these before? Okay. This allows you to take, I think, every camera known to mankind and every chip, and one of these slots will work. Pop it in there. See how that fit? Okay. So on my way here, I took a few pictures. I actually took them right out on Dollar, and Jill stopped. She's like, "Hey, are you okay?" She's like, "You're standing in the middle of the road." I'm like, "I know, I'm taking pictures." You know. So, anyways, we've got some pictures on here. So let's go through what I do and how I put them in there to a computer.
Before you get started,
Yeah.
what if you have a tower?
Oh, this is a good question.
How do you know if your card, the memory card, is gonna?
That's a
or should
great
you just
question.
Go to one of those.
You can always get one of these. These will fit in any computer because they got a little USB plug in. Every computer on the planet, every Mac, every PC on the planet is got one of them. Okay? It's a USB card reader. So it's got all the different. You want to pass this around? Well, actually, after I'm done, I'll pass it around because I'm going to need it. But it's got about every chip known to man could be plugged in here, and I could get it onto my computer. Okay, my computer at home, I can plug this right in. A lot of cameras have what's called an S disk. It's called a secure disk. A lot of PCs have that right on the side. Yes, Pat.
I'm computer illiterate.
That's
as
two of us.
usual. No, I'm learning, but ever since I've had this Windows 10 for like 4 months now, I have pictures on 3 spots on that gosh dang thing, and I don't know why. The home page calls shortcuts to pictures. Then the home page, and you click on this little tab, and it goes into PC pictures. And then on the left hand, down on the left, there's a button if I push, and it goes to the photo gallery. I am so confused.
Okay. Anybody else have similar issues with that? Windows 10 has some software built into it that it's doing you a favor, in quotation marks, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Not when you want to find them.
I can't argue with that. But why don't you and I talk later, or maybe give me a call tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I can log in. Then we can look at it. But it's just organize them in a different way. I can show you what to do with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
So this little chip don't fit in this computer, so I'm going to poke it into here. Okay. How many of you do this a lot? No. Okay. What do you do now?
Well,
Oh, I get it.
we did have a camera with a little teeny microchip, but
Yeah.
then you can get the full-size SD thing that the little microchip would fit into.
Yeah, and who made that thing that small? Has anyone seen one of those?
Oh, yeah.
They make a
they're
chip,
little.
it's like a postage stamp, and then there's this little tiny, thing like this that goes in it. I'm like, if I drop this on the carpet, I'll never find it. It's just gone, you know? Yeah, the same. This is like as small as a SIM card for a phone. It's like, really? Yeah. Okay. And they obviously didn't make this stuff for guys with hands. You know, come on, man. Hello? Yeah. I need super glue on each finger to pick these things up.
I make tweezers for you.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I plugged in this chip, okay? And on the PowerPoint, I've got a couple things on there that have pictures. They are not going to look exactly like what you're going to see, and when you get home, it may show a different screen. Windows 10 will usually float in from the right-hand side. Windows 8 will do something similar, so it's going to be different, but something will usually pop up on your screen that says, hey, you plugged in a new chip, what do you want to do with this? Okay? Some people will tell you, well, just tell it transfer the pictures and import it. Yeah, if you really know what you're doing, or if you do it the same all the time, that's okay. What about if you change computers and the software isn't on there? Uh-oh. Now what do you do? So what I'm going to teach you is it's built into every Windows, every Mac, everything. This will work. Okay? So I don't do any of that. The one that's highlighted blue is what I do. It says, hey, you found a removable disk. This little chip thing I plugged in. All right, removable disk, and it's got a letter. This happens to be E. It might be the F, the G, or something, but it'll pick a letter. I'm going to say open it. And then every digital camera on planet Earth has one folder in it. Mine has two. One's for video and one's for pictures. It's called the DCIM folder. Every one of them's got it. Okay? I think it's called Digital Camera Input Media. It's a universal. Somebody came up with it 20 years ago, and they all follow the standard. So now I'm going to open that folder. See this? So if I double click on it, some cameras have multiple folders. This camera does multiples. My other camera is an Olympus. There's only one folder under there. So I can't tell you you're going to see exactly like this, but the idea is the same. If I open this folder, there's nothing in it. That's not the one. But if I open the next folder, you can also see the date. See that right there? Why can I see the date? That's because the thing I showed you earlier over here, if it was still sitting on large, I can't see the date. It's a nice pretty picture of the folder, isn't it? Somebody went through a lot of trouble to make that manila folder, didn't they? Well, I'm going to turn it off. The reason I do this is so I can see the dates when I'm working with pictures. So I go to detail. So on a Mac, if you went to view, there's different ones. I think it's called detailed view or something on a Mac, but it's the same idea. You can see all of the stuff. Well, I'm going to delete this folder here since there's nothing in it. And if I press delete, do you remember where it goes? It goes to the trash can, the recycle bin. If I hold shift and I press delete, what happens to it? Perfect. Shift, delete. And I'm going to say yes, but it's asking me, hey, knucklehead. They should let me write these messages, right? Hey, knucklehead, are you paying attention right now? Huh? So if I say yes here, it is going to permanently delete that folder, and it is now gone. It's probably from some other goofy stuff I was doing. Yeah. So now, I've had people tell me that you should rename them here. I do all my work on the chip. I don't do anything on the chip. Does anybody remember how to select all pictures? I can do Control A. If you got Windows 8 and Windows 10, it'll be right up top. There'll be a little thing that says Select All. But I'm going to have to go to Organize and Select All. See how they all turned blue? Okay. Now what I do is I cut them. If you right-click on any of those pictures and you say Cut, you see it just faded out a little bit on the icon over there on the left? Okay. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Control A. See how the icons are nice and clear over here? Alright, so if I go Control A, or if I go to Organize and Select All, either way. But now if I right click on any of those and I say Cut, did you see the little icon went kind of faded on the left? That means it's ready to be cut and pasted somewhere, not copied. Copied would mean there'd be pictures on my chip and pictures on my computer, and that is not what you want. You want them only on your computer. You want this chip empty every time. Okay? So now I have cut them, but nothing happened. I'm going to go to my pictures folder over here on the left. You see that? And I'm going to say new folder up here. You see that? I can also just right click in the white and say new folder. If you're using Windows 10, there's a button up top that says new folder. So let's call that 2016 vacation. How's that sound? So there, we got a new folder in there. Now if I open that folder and I right click and I say paste, if you've got Windows 8, 10 or a Mac, there'll be a button up top that says paste. So if I paste it, or Control V is a shortcut also. If I hit paste, what it's going to do, it's going to the chip and it's taking each one of them and it's cutting it out of there and it's pasting it over here. So if I go and look at this chip in that folder, there's going to be nothing there. So if I go to my chip, which is the E drive, I open this folder, there's nothing there. That's how I want it. There's a reason for that. It gets confusing when you got 4 billion pictures and which ones did I leave on my camera? Did I copy them yet? I don't know. But if you always do it this way, there's no doubt. Half of the problem with multiple pictures is now gone because they are for sure all on my computer. Does that make sense? But if I copied a bunch of these, I don't really know for sure. Okay? That's why cut and paste is better. Okay? All right. Everybody following so far? Nobody sleeping yet? No? I'm going to have to work harder then. Okay. Yes.
Control C does a copy.
Yes. Very good.
Control what does it take?
Control X.
Control X.
X is a cut.
Folder.
For those of you that like speed keys, and it would be Command C or Command, I'm pretty sure it's Command X, but there's a cut and paste. I like to use speed keys. Using the menus and things for me, it's harder because they're in different places on everybody's machine. If you go home and you got Windows 8, you won't see what I'm seeing here, but the speed key is always the same. So if I wanted to, I'll just make a copy of a picture and then I'll paste it, and then I'll cut one and I'll paste it. So if I went to this pictures folder and I went to these samples, okay? If I took the chrysanthemum, say that 3 times fast, right? And if I did a cut, now I could right click it, I could say cut. But if I just Control X, you see how the icon went dim up there and it's ready to be pasted? And then if I'll just paste it into this folder, there's a speed key to paste it and it's Control V. So now I cut that picture. There is no chrysanthemum left in the pictures, sample pictures. We got no chrysanthemum there. But if I took the koala and I did a Control C, not a Control X, and then I went to this folder and I did a Control V, that pasted it. So now I got a koala in both places. Now you know how easy it is to get in trouble. Okay? Because you could have 400 of them at the copy and paste, boom, you got troubles. So why do I see the pictures here? You see I can see the pictures here. This was supposed to be later in the class, but here we are. We'll do it now. If I went to my pictures folder and I went to sample pictures, I don't see them. Every folder, the view is independent. So if I went to this folder here, the view in this folder up here is on large icons. When I pick that, that's not for every folder on the computer, that's for that folder. So if I went back to pictures, and I've been working in this one right here, you see how these are not pictures, they're independent. So if I told this folder, hey, go be extra large icons, when I go back to this folder, it's going to look like this. Does that make sense? But that doesn't mean every folder is going to look like that. If I went to this folder, see how they're different? Okay? This folder's not big. So it's independent. Like when I'm in pictures, if I change pictures to be extra large, pictures is extra large. But your documents is not going to be crazy large. Okay? Yeah, you imagine looking at Word documents that big? Yeah. Ah! Okay, so this is the icon right up here. You might also have a ribbon up top that says View, and I'm just going to say Details for right now, just because that's what we're working on. So does anybody have any questions on what we did with this little thingy here? How to pop it in?
No, not necessarily that, but a few years back I took a class on photography.
Yep.
And one thing they stressed on the memory card was to delete it in the camera. Doing it on there. Is this something new?
You know, this is a good question. What he brought up is a few years ago, have you ever gone into the menus on here? Let's say I had 10 pictures on here. They used to teach, and this is absolutely correct, it used to be that you should go into your camera and delete the pictures, not do it the way I showed you. But all of the new cameras, when the chip is blank, it just knows to start over. But his question was, is that new? I guess I wouldn't say it's new, but it's more recent, that the cameras are smarter now than they used to be. But it could be a problem. What would happen is you'd turn your camera on and all these little thumbnail pictures would be in there, but the pictures wouldn't be there. Does that make sense? But now the cameras go, oh, this thing is blank, and it takes away all the thumbnails. So I haven't seen a camera in 5-6 years that didn't do that. So I would be,
About that one.
yeah, and I'd be perfectly comfortable telling you do it this way because I've been teaching this class for, well, a long time, right? You guys have been coming a long time. So for quite a few years, but he's absolutely right. It used to be that way. If someone tells you that, well, if they've got a specific reason, that's fine. But I would say do it my way because, you know, it's all about me, really. really.
You know, if you had an older camera.
An older camera, that could be a really valid point, a very valid point. Okay, so does anybody have any questions on what we did? We put the chip into the computer, we waited for a little menu to pop up, and we didn't say import pictures, we didn't say nothing. We said open the folder, and then we opened the E drive. We went into the folder, which is always going to be DCIM, and then probably a subfolder. And we did select all, which is Control A, or you hit the little button that says select all, and we did cut, not copy. We did cut, which is Control X. Then we went into our pictures over here, and we said make a new folder, and we called it 2006 Vacation, or 16, sorry, I'm 10 years off. And then inside it, then we pasted those pictures. Is everybody okay with that so far? Except they all still say DSC 0357942 HUT, you know, battleship, right? So, how do we rename all of these pictures? Do I got to sit there and click this one, right click and say rename? Oh my goodness. What if there were 400 of them? Which, you know, with digital cameras, if you go for a week and you don't take 400 pictures, I think they'll take some more for you. You know, it's just not going to happen. All right, somebody tell me with a key how to select all these pictures. Control A. Very good. You guys are paying attention. I thought for sure I'd have had somebody sleeping by now. Huh. Control A. See how they all went blue? Okay. This first picture up on top, right click on it. Not left click, right click. So you got the two buttons? Okay. So you move the little mousey up here and you right click. A little menu appears and one of them near the bottom says rename. So now if I said rename and I just said this was 2016, where was that? Niagara. Oops.
So how do you know the pictures?
We'll go through that in a minute. So I'm just going to give it a generic name. Can everybody see what I typed? Once again, what if there were 400 of them? It would be the same thing. You press Control A, you right click on the top one. Just like that. No different. So even if this list went farther than we could see right now, if there were 1,000 of them, when I press enter, watch what happens. Anybody see what happened? They all got a number. So now you know how to do it. Yes.
So I can take all my pictures from my trip last summer where I really messed up on the date.
Yeah.
And the dates are all different.
Mm-hmm.
I can take those
Yep.
and put one date
Yep.
on all of them.
Yep. Now we're going to answer another question and yours. So I'm gonna undo what I just did. So here we are. Pat, you asked, or no, you asked, but I can't see them. This is a really good point. Well, I happen to know that everything I took off of here came from that vacation. Why do I know that for sure? Because that chip is always empty. Everything on that chip is from my last vacation.
And you labeled the folder.
And I labeled the folder. But that's good. You don't have to rename the pictures, do you? Because the folder says that. But what if you email this to somebody? What's it say? DSC 0359. And how long does this take to rename all the pictures? If I select them all, and I right click and I say rename, and I say Flintstone. Flintstone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 1,000 billion. So it takes what? What'd that take, 3 seconds? So now all my pictures, well, I probably shouldn't call them Flintstone. Well, let's do it right. "2016 Niagara Falls," press enter, boom, it renames them all and it assigns them a sequence number. See that? I did nothing.
So if you were to go on your vacation to 4 different places, you could select this group,
Yep.
name it that piece,
Yep.
and each one.
Yep. What her question was, what if you went on a 5-day vacation instead of a 1-day vacation? You have 5 different places you went. Or you went someplace and you had 5 different places in one day. What my wife and I do is I make a folder that says 2016 vacation, And then I make a folder that says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And when we take the pictures, because everything comes out of the camera every day, we get back to the hotel, we cut and paste all the pictures every day when we get back. So that way when I go to the 2016 vacation folder, there's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
What if
Friday.
you don't do it every day? What if you don't, you just went to Florida?
Okay.
And went to.
And took a bunch of pictures. Yep.
Okeechobee and Cocoa Beach. Now how am I gonna get them all?
Why didn't you take me? What's up with that? You guys, you needed someone to carry your bags, right? Okay, so the question is, okay, so I wasn't doing it. I didn't bring my computer. I couldn't put them all in the folder. I got 500 of them on here, okay? I'm still going to tell you, get them all on the computer first. Do not screw around. Even if you make a temporary folder, cut them and paste them first. Working on here is about 1/100th of the speed as it is on here. So cut them and paste them. Get them on the computer. So let's say we did that. We've only got 10 pictures, I think, right? Yeah, we got 10 pictures up here, right? Okay. Well, what we would have done if we had 2 weeks worth of pictures, maybe we'd have 500 of them in there. But that's not a big deal. So now you know how to rename stuff, right? But we're going to do it the way you asked about. What if some of these were from Monday, some of them were from Tuesday, some of them were from Wednesday? Now they're all in what folder? They're all in the 2016 vacation folder to start with, right? All right, so if I open that folder, which ones are which? What's this little button do over here? Yeah, what if I did this and I said large? Now magically, mystically, I can see all those pictures that I took on the way here of my truck and of the lake. So what if I could see these now and I knew that this picture through this picture were from Monday? Somebody tell me how to select individual pictures. What do? You hold control and you click the ones you want, the ones that were from Monday, right? Now if I right click on any of those pictures, it's the same thing, and I say rename. 2016 Niagara Falls Monday, right? And I press enter. Those 3 pictures now say what? If there were 300 of them, what would they say? 1 through 300. It would be the same thing. So now that I can see them, I happen to know, oh, that's the only one I had from Tuesday. Well, I can rename just one picture. Okay.
I can't see it because it's saying 2016.
This is a really good question. Anybody interested in a free magnifying glass for their computer? Huh? I got your attention now, don't I? Okay, that's actually free, by the way. So these other pictures, what's that?
Is that on the computer?
It's on this one. I got a $5 tip jar up here, and it could be on yours. Now, if you want it, you can send me an email. You can just send an email to the office about the magnifying glass. Do not go out and Google search for this, okay? I'm not responsible for the stuff you find if you're looking for peeping magnifying glass things. It's Google, it's not me, all right? But it's really nice because you can do this and you can, on the fly, change the zoom level with the rolly on the mouse. Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. All for the low price of nothing? Sign me up.
You can send that,
Yes, you probably got a little more advanced one. Windows has one. What's that?
you can send that by email?
I can. I can send you.
It's almost easier to do.
Send me an email. I can see. I don't know if they have this for the Mac, but I'll find it. If there's one out there, I'll find it for you and I'll email you back. All right? I got cards, but you could email the office, but it's pdavis@emily.net. I can see right now I should never have fired up the magnifying. Okay, so new class. We're going to start on magnifying glass right now. Forget these pictures. Who cares about them?
We're not 25.
Yes.
You can do that on TeamView, right?
Yes, I can.
When you did the first three.
Yes.
You clicked each one individually.
Let's go back and do it again.
Well, no.
That's okay. I clicked each one.
You didn't wait for my question.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Could you not have done a control and click on the first one and then drag over to the third one?
You cannot drag.
Okay.
Okay? But what her question is now I just did click with the control key held, click, 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 because I have 3 pictures. Well, what if this was 300 pictures? Let's do this. Okay. And okay. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a bunch of copies of these. So they're all the same picture, but it'll look like there's 100 pictures in here, okay? Because when you get back from vacation, if you only took 10 pictures, I am going to be mad at you. I will be. Okay, so this is a little more realistic to her question. So now we've got a whole bunch. They're all cleverly the same thing, but whatever. What if from this picture to this truck picture right here, they were the same day? If you click the first one, you see how it's blue? Now if I held control, I could click all the ones in the sequence. But if I hold shift and then I click the last one, that's how you do it. So let's do that. Now if I right click the first one, rename, you can right click anyone, but I always do the first one. And it's all about me, so there it is. So let's say 2016 Niagara Monday, right? So now all of those are renamed that fast, just like that. And then all I'm doing is I'm screwing around with it by the different views that I have. I like this one. Some people don't like it like this. It's okay. However you like to do it is fine. So let's do the next batch. Let's say there's only 2 for Tuesday. How do I select 2 individual pictures? Hold control and you click them. Bonk, bonk. I don't think you have to make that sound though. I'm pretty good with that.
Okay, do it that the picture is the first one and the 45th one.
All right, so if I pick this one and I hold control and I pick this one, for some reason they're out of order and those 2 are Tuesday.
How did you do that?
Same way, I clicked on one of them
Okay.
and then I control clicked on the other one. Does that make sense?
Well, it's just I can't believe
Well, let's see.
control clicked on the other one.
Yeah, so I clicked on the one, boy, there's too many pictures in there for me to see. It's really hard to see the difference. Give me just a second. Let's work with some real pictures. Okay, so these are different. They're not my cool truck out there. Not that my truck isn't cool, but this is a little tram in New Mexico going up on a mountain. Okay?
Yep.
All right. There's some others. So your question was, if I wanted the first bunch, if there was 100 of these, okay? If I did the first one and then I did a shift and I click that one, can you see that they're all blue?
Yeah.
Okay. If I right click on this first one and I say rename, Monday. Okay? I press enter. All of those are now renamed.
Right, but what if you have 2 pictures on a sequence?
Yep. Let's say this one. If I click that one and then I hold control and I click that one.
Oh.
And then I right click on the first one and then I rename it and I say 2016. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing might be, what if they're out of order but they're more from the Monday? So let's say that all of these, you know, I did a click right on that first one, then I did a shift click right there. Those are all Monday. But so is this one. If I hold control right now, I can select that one, that one, that one. And now if I right click and say rename Monday, now they're all renamed Monday out of sequence. So sometimes your pictures may not be numbered right on the days. Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody have any idea where we are in the PowerPoint? Because I've totally lost track. Okay, so what does that mean? Yeah, all cameras have a name and a sequence number. And, well, we moved the photos from the PC, or from the chip to the PC. Okay. Do you see why I say get them off the chip? It just takes all the confusion out of there. Plus, once you get them on your computer, if you've come to my backup class, you know how important these are. It's backed up. Okay.
So do you need that backup, so that it's backed up all the time, you don't just have it back up once in a while?
You know, that's a really good question. It depends on what you do. There's no one answer for that, but if you plug that thing in once a month and you do a backup, that's great. If you do a lot of stuff though, like once a month wouldn't be good enough for you. It's got to be every day. She's a business person. Yep. And so for her, a once a month backup isn't good enough, but some folks, they don't do enough on their pictures and computer to do it every day. So there's no one answer for that. Okay? So
hard drive that crashed.
yep.
Didn't replace it right away, a month later the computer crashed.
Oh no.
Lost everything.
Oh. We should have a moment of silence right now, I think. But you know, you guys know me. A moment of silence for me is tough. You know that, right?
I had some flowers,
Yep.
the pictures that we took in Arizona
Yep.
that hadn't bloomed in 50 years. They were all gone.
Where's that hard drive? You still got it?
I doubt it.
Doubt it. Okay. Sometimes I can recover pictures and stuff
This
like
was
for that.
probably 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, maybe not. I put these things on the PowerPoint, but we have already gone through many of these. And the screens are going to look a little different, but there's the DCIM folder I told you about. And there's the subfolder. Mine's different on this computer, but that's completely camera dependent. And then you can go up and select all, and then again, you want to move them. You don't want to copy them. You want to cut them and paste them. Or some computers will allow you to say move, and that's the same thing as cut and paste. Okay? So we just did a transfer. We made a folder. Does everybody understand right now how to rename a whole bunch of files? Do you think that's going to be of use?
Yes.
Okay.
More ways than just
Yeah, and the same thing for Word documents, anything like that. You can use the same selecting techniques. If you want to delete several Word documents, you can click on one and shift click and get those in a row, and you're done. Okay? All right.
And if you want to name each picture individually, you can do that if you choose.
Absolutely. The question is, what if you want to rename them individually? And you can. It does. But I'm going to do something a little different with that. I'm not going to rename them, but I'm going to show you something that I think you'll like. All right. Let me get rid of all of these and put some fresh ones in there. Assuming I didn't delete all my fresh ones here. Hang on. All right. So I'm going to go to our pictures folder. And so here's the folder we're working with. We cut them from the camera. We pasted them in here. Here they are, all 1 million pictures from our vacation, right? So we're going to rename these. I just want to do this one more time. I'm going to click this first one. I'm going to shift click that one. You see how all of them in the row got selected? I'm going to right click this one. I'm going to rename it. I like to use the date for the year first. I go 2014. This was actually in New Mexico down south. And that was Monday. Oops.
What city was that tram line?
Albuquerque.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to say 2014 New Mexico Monday. I'm going to press enter. Perfect. The first 4 pictures. Oops, 5. Now we're going to do the next ones. And these were on Tuesday. So I'm going to click one. I'm going to shift click it. I'm going to right click it. rename it. Gets a little repetitive, but boy, I'll tell you, once you've done it, it's very easy to do, and if you use this system, it won't fail you. It'll be a very good system forever. Okay, so now, if I was going to look for the pictures of New Mexico on my computer, because how many people have more than 10 pictures? Most of us. Okay, so if I wanted to find, you know what, I got somebody coming over. That never happens. Whatever comes over. What am I? Okay, that's somebody else's house. Somebody comes over there. Okay, so if I went to my pictures folder right here, so all the pictures on my computer would come tumbling down. You familiar with that? You got 400 folders and everything in there. I don't remember what year I went to New Mexico. I don't remember. It's a guy thing, really, actually. Huh? Years? What? Dates? What? What if I just said, typed up here and I said Mexico? Look what just happened. It just found every picture that is named something with Mexico in it. Now, if I was in Mexico, those pictures would also come up.
Yeah.
Okay? But isn't that cool? What if I wanted to do New Mexico? If I type New Mexico Monday, oh, look what happened. I'm not even in that folder. I'm just in the pictures folder, and I clicked up here and I said New Mexico Monday, and all of them in any folder magically just came up, and we could double click on it, and that's on top of Sandia Peak, and that's a little restaurant up there. There they are. That's the tram that takes you there. So I'm not looking at any other pictures from that vacation. I'm looking at New Mexico Monday. Now I'm going to show you some real magic. So then up here, if you hit this little XE right there, it clears out the search, and now it's just back to the pictures folder. Okay? What if I wanted to find the picture with the tram on it? Well, I'd have to remember that was New Mexico. Okay? I'd have to remember, God, it was Monday. You remember every day you were on vacation, everything you did? Bravo! Better than me. All right. Okay, so here's this tram right here. Okay? There's two ways that I know of to do this. You can do this on a Mac too. This picture has the ability to have little kibbles and bits inside it. Okay? And in those kibbles and bits, you could say tram. They're just little, they call them tags or comments. So because I'm using it like this and I'm looking at them large, I don't have anything down here on some computers, but on Windows 7, 8, 10, look down here. It says, can you guys read this? It says add a tag. Okay? I could also right click on the picture, go to properties, and I could go to details. And in there, can you see that right there? See how it says tags? I could put comments in there. The day I fell off the tram. Oops. Right? Yeah, I hope me too. Yeah. Okay, so we got a couple different ways of inserting little bits of text inside the picture. The cool thing about that is it's in there forever. So when you move to a new computer and you copy these things, those little kibbles and bits are in there too. So let's do that. Let's put a tag in there called tram. I'm going to say okay. Doesn't look like anything happened, did it? Okay. But if I just went to my pictures folder and I searched up here for tram, well, look at that. Oh, I should have done something besides tram. Many of the pictures are named tram. I'm sorry. Hang on, let's go fix this. My bad. Somebody fire me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right click and go to properties. I'm going to go to details. Okay, could you repeat that when you get home? Okay, because there's another way to do it. You want to see the other way to do it? Okay, let's cancel. Because I'm in here in the picture mode, I have limited things down here, but one of them is tags. If I clicked on that and I just backspace over it and I said save, it's gone. Okay? So now if I look for tram, I will get all the tram pictures in the name. But let's call this something else. Let's call this blue, I don't know, something. So
Blue tram.
blue tram. All right. So if I click that picture and I typed in down here blue tram. Okay, blue tram. And I said save. Okay. And I go, if I happen to be searching for it because I need to show Chuck this cool blue tram. There. If I had 4 million pictures on this computer, how many would have came up right now? 1. You don't even technically need to know where your pictures are if you do it this way. But if you organize your pictures into 2016, and then what I'm doing is the folder, so maybe 2016 vacation where I brought Paul to Hawaii? Does that sound good? Okay, yeah, sign me up. 2016 vacation. And then under that folder, you had a folder that said Monday.
So you're putting folders inside of folders?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So everything's in pictures. Then there's a folder with the year and the function. Then under that, I usually put the days, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then every day I come back and I put my pictures in there. And if I can't do that, when I get home, this is what you had mentioned over there.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, when you get home, change the view using this little icon right here. And then find your pictures that belong in each day and move them into those folders. Does that make sense? But always get them off of that camera chip. Always. Get them off. Yes,
If you
Dorothy.
were to mail, email that picture to somebody.
Yep.
Would they see that tag or?
If I sent it to you and you went into it just like I'm doing, the question was if I emailed this to somebody, would that tag be in the picture? And absolutely
But
it
it
would
wouldn't
be.
necessarily show if they just decided to print the picture.
It would not show. That's a very good point. A tag doesn't show anywhere, but it's inside it. A comment in some software will show. Now there may be a reason you would want to do that. On your Macs, when you make a photo tour, one of those photo thingies, if there are comments embedded into the picture, on my software, it puts the comment on the picture. So if it says, my cousin Vinny, even though you don't see it on the picture, when you put it into this other software, you can see those comments. So there are sometimes you would want to use tags and sometimes not. You would just need to experiment a little. But wouldn't it be nice if you were looking through the thumbnails and you saw a picture of a special friend, and if you just clicked on that picture, and you went down here and put a tag in there that said, high school buddy, Roger, something like that. So now in the folder, remember if I click up here on this X, it clears those searchy things. So in the folder, yeah, I know I went on a blue tram in New Mexico, but I didn't have to focus on going and finding the pictures and renaming them or anything. I can just click on it and go down here, and you can add more too. Rocks. Okay? So this now says Blue Tram Rocks. Let's just look for rocks. Because it was one of the tags inside that picture, even though the folder doesn't have rocks in the name, the picture don't have rocks in the name, but I put the little text inside the picture, and so it's there. Yes?
In the Mac, where's the tag?
I can get back to you on that. I'll have to fire my Mac up and find out, but I know it can be done. It may be in their software, but it's very handy. We use this all the time, like for a special shot, like when we were at Niagara Falls. There was a couple with the Tesla statue. Send me an email. Send me an email, and then what I can do is I can pick away at it when I get a little time, and when I find the answer, I'll have Donnie call you. What do you want, Donnie?
Maybe you're gonna cover this, Paul. I have pictures in different folders,
Mhm.
same pictures, some are renamed, same picture. Is there a program you could recommend that would give me all those so I can rename them the same name and put them in one folder?
That's a really good question. I am going to cover that.
Okay.
By my expression, does it show that I don't have a real positive answer for it? Was that a tell? If I was playing poker, would you know what hand I had?
Usually when you say that's a good question.
That's a very good question, yes. But if you send me an email with that question about the Mac, I will look into it. I always get back to everybody. Does anybody have any questions on this part of it? I know this is a lot of stuff. Did any of it seem hard? Could you follow the little notes and maybe figure it out and make some use out of it? Okay. Yeah, the tagging is pretty cool. So. Okay. So now, I wanted to talk about a couple of programs I use, and then we'll get to the really tough question that guy in the back had over there. Okay, scanners. We talked a little about them. You're not going to see them very much, and honestly, I don't recommend if you got boxes of pictures. It's a grueling process. I would put them in a bag, ship them off, and they'll send them back to you already done.
You could, if you put them on like a black background,
Yep.
you could in a good
Do
family,
6
you
at
could
one.
Take a picture.
Yep, and at least it's better than nothing. What are the free programs that are out there for some of this? Has anyone ever heard of Adobe's Photoshop? It's a word you hear a lot. Yeah, you're going to drop $1,000 on that one, right? Is there anything out there that's free? Yes, there's tons of them. For Windows, there's one built in. It's the Photo Gallery. It comes with, it's built into Windows. It's fantastic. The little photo tour video music thing I showed you at first, that's a built-in free program called Movie Maker in Windows. Apple has the same stuff. Okay? It's called Movie Maker. There's a whole class just on those two if you're ever interested. So, I never know what to do a class on, but if you guys are interested in stuff like, what do I do with all these pictures now that I know how to tag them and rename them? Can I do anything cool with them? If you're interested in a class like that, let me know, or tell me, today, okay? Or if there's anything else you think of, I like suggestions. Did you have something, Joni? Jesse?
How about putting comments that you can read with the picture when the picture comes up?
Good question. I'll show you that. Let me just see if I told you everything else I told you I was going to tell you first.
Photo Gallery, Movie Maker.
Photo Gallery and Movie Maker are free Windows programs that are fantastic. There is a one, don't spend a lot of time on it. It's on one of your slides. When you need to send a picture to somebody on email, it's brutal torture to send it to them at full size. I do not need a picture of your eyeball that big, okay? Here's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Today's cameras, this is a 12 or a 16 megapixel. What does that mean? I don't know. Lots of little dots. How many dots does it take to draw that screen up there? Yeah, about 2 to 3 million. So that would be, on the screen there are 2 to 3 million pixels. There's a number of dots going left to right, and there's a number of dots going up and down. All screens, every Mac, every PC, that's how it's done. Okay? Every camera does the same thing. It takes pictures and there's dots. The more dots, the bigger the file. So when you take a picture at full resolution, like, let's pick this one. This picture, can you see down here? Well, wait, I know you can. Let's do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That picture is 3648 by 2736. What does that mean? That is the number of dots from left to right and up and down. That's a lot of dots. 3648 times 2736. Anybody got a calculator? 3648 times 2736, did I say? Yep. That is a 9.9 megapixel image. Big deal. It's not that big, is it? Well, it is. A 9 megapixel, that's 9 million. The file size on that is 3.54 if you look over there. It's huge. If you want to send that by email, first off, it's going to take a long time. You're going to make somebody mad because now they got to download it. Okay? Not everybody has the awesome fiber we have. Some people are still stuck on dial-up. They'll call you up and rag on you for that. Okay? You think I'm kidding. No, I am not. But see, here's the deal. How big is this picture? I just opened that picture. It doesn't look very big, does it? The screen up there is 1,200 dots wide. Okay, that's how big the screen is. 800 dots or so tall. What did I tell you that picture was? 3,600. The screen is 1,200 dots. If I opened this picture and I went to full size, that's how big that picture is. Do you need to email somebody a picture like that? I don't think so. You can't even make any sense out of it. Does that make sense? Your computer resizes it for you to see. However, it is still extremely large for you to print. It needs all the dots to make it look nice on a printer. You don't need all them dots to email it to somebody. So what I use, it's on your list there. I'm going to resize one of these pictures, and you will see there's really no difference on the computer. But if you printed them, there would be. All I have to do with this software that I've got listed, we won't spend much time on it because I know we're getting tight here. But if I right click on this and I said resize pictures, can you guys see that?
Mhm.
Okay. Right, the hard drive's working. Come on, don't make a liar out of me. There we go. What is the sweet spot for picture sizes to email? It is 800 by 600. That's the law. I think it's the 11th commandment, but I can't be sure. And we're still going to get back to your comments. Okay. The reason I say that is the screen is 1200 by 800. Some of the newer screens are 1900 by 1200. You know, they're a little bit bigger, but still, anything bigger is wasted because it's too big and the computer has to shrink it, right? So let's make this picture, okay, it's got a 854 by 480. Let's just pick that. Okay, it doesn't look any different. See, it made a new picture with the name small. Well, if I open that, I don't know, it looks a little different, but if I had said 800 by 600, it'd probably look better, but does it look any different? Okay. The thing is, on the little one though, when you zoom in, you see it's getting blotchy. It's not crystal clear. So if you went to print the little one, it wouldn't look as good as the big one. But to email this to your buddy, the original picture is 3.5 million. Okay? That's the size of the file, which means it's going to take a while to upload that if you're going to email it, or if you're going to post it on Facebook, because it's going to take the picture. It'll resize it once it's there, but you're still pushing it. But what if you resized it first? You already got one question in the queue. Hang on a sec. So 3.5 million is the size of our original picture. The new picture, can you see this down here? Let me magnify that. It is 0.1 million. So from 3.5 million to 0.1. Without looking any different for the purposes of sending it to a friend or emailing to somebody or posting it into Facebook, we have reduced it by a factor of, what is that, 350? From 3.5 to 0.1? Yeah. So when you hit send, boop, it's gone, it's done, they got it. It's just that fast. Resizing your pictures is important. That's a kind of a whole nother class, but I did want to touch on it because with this thing here, I can multiply select many files. See that? Remember that technique with the control key? I can right click on those and I can say, so if I've got 5 or 6 pictures I want to email to somebody from the vacation, I can right click on them and say resize them. I can send them the smaller versions and they won't send me hate mail. Well, they probably still will, but not about that. Does that make sense? So you can use the technique of selecting the pictures to use this free resizing software that's in your little pamphlets to do a lot of cool things. Okay? I'm kind of thinking we're getting towards burnout here. What do you guys think? Got any left in the tank? Okay. You had a question, probably 2. Jesse's question was a really good one. What's the difference, or how do you get the comments to show up? Okay? Because I said maybe tags, maybe comments, maybe put a title in there. I'm just going to show you something, and oh cool, it's on here. See, you asked me these questions, I'm not ready, Jess. Well, you know. So let's go take our pictures here. I'm going to get rid of the small one. How do I permanently delete this picture that I have selected? Shift and delete. Now if you had a little red X up here, you could delete it. You could also hold Shift and click that red X and it would do the same thing. But I go Shift, delete, and it says permanently delete, boom, it's out of here. Okay? So I'm going to take these first 4 pictures and I'm going to click the first one and I'm going to Shift click the 4th one. I have now selected them all, right? I could go down here and put a tag in there, but I'm kind of limited because of the way I'm looking at the picture. I can always come over here, go to details, because they're still selected. See that? And then down here you can have a few more things. You see, I can stretch that up and I can add a bunch of gibberish. I can add a tag. I can add a title. I can add a comment. I can add them all. They're just little bits of text that go into 4 pictures. Does that make sense? Let's put a title on them. This is a title. Okay, clever, aren't I? Right. Comments. These are comments. I'm going to hit save. It doesn't look like anything happened. But the word comment is embedded into those pictures now. So if I search for comment, you see how it comes up there? Okay. Comment. Bad English. Okay. If I hit that X, it goes away. So each one of those pictures now, when I click on it, if you look at the bottom here, Jess. Here, let me do my magic trick. I'm going to sell this magnifying glass, man. So look what happens. Every picture that I click on in that list, down on the bottom, there's a title and there are comments. So you asked, how could you see them on the screen? They're right there. Whenever you click on them, in whatever view, if you look at them on the bottom, that's where you can see those comments. Does that make sense?
That prints out on the picture too?
You can make it do that in a different way, but you're talking about printing the picture with those comments? Tough crowd. Tough crowd. Okay, so I got these first 4 pictures, right? Okay, 4. Yeah, 4. I opened up a little bit of software. I was promising maybe to show anybody who was interested. But this little bit of software here is what you make the movies out of. Now look at the pictures. See, it says this is the title on it? Now, if that had said the Sandia Peak Tram, that's what would be there. This also says this is the title. So, but I did that on the picture itself, and by using this software, I happen to know that a title comes into this software. So if you choose to do this, or you want to, or you think this is cool, maybe a title is for you. Maybe not. Had I put tags in there, they would not show up. Does that make sense? Okay. Now as far as printing them with them on there, haven't seen that. I use this software to do this and I make a video. I just don't print them with that. I can look into that. If you send me an email, I will look into that, see if there's a way to make it do that. Okay. Sure, of course, now I got to try it because, you know, it's a challenge thing, right? I don't think there's a way to actually do that, Jesse. But I know that there are certain software, like a photo gallery may have something like that.
If you're looking at the picture itself, if you add something to the picture?
I don't know. There's certain software packages that you could make with the HP software. When you bring the pictures in, it may put the tags or comments or titles in there. But I can't actually tell you that without doing a little more research than I've got here. Okay? You had your hand up twice. What was your other question?
What happens if somebody sends you one of them pictures, you can only see a quarter of it on your screen, you've got to move around to find out the whole picture?
Because it's so big?
Yeah. Is there a way of shrinking that so you can see it?
Sure. Question is, when somebody sends you a picture of their eyeball, okay, how can you see the rest of their face, right? Well, let's take a picture like that. So I send you a picture, and for some reason, you got to save it to your hard drive to do this, okay? Because if you open it in your email, it might display it this big, and has no control on that because that's part of your email program. But if you click that picture and you say, save that to my pictures, okay? Once it's on your computer, then if you open it up and it happens to be super big, you can roll the wheel of the mouse. See how I'm doing that? And just change the size of it. If you permanently want to resize it, you can get that free software that I'm talking about. You can then just resize it and keep a smaller copy. Does that make sense? But the biggest is the bestest for printing. There's quite a difference between printing a picture that starts out this big or printing a picture that was this big on a little picture. I mean, the sharpness is amazing. The difference is tremendous. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Panoramic pictures. You know, you guys have been here an hour and a half. Are you tired of listening to me yet? No? It's okay. You can say yes. I won't. I won't cry or nothing. I wanted to tell you about Dropbox. I know you guys use a cloud in the sky. Anybody heard of Dropbox? Okay, there's a bunch of them. Dropbox, SugarSync, Box.com. Everybody and their dog, I think, has one of these. There are free services that when you save a file on your computer, it's on your computer, it's only there. But if you saved it into a specific folder, cleverly called the Dropbox folder, it puts a copy on your computer, but it also pushes one up to the sky. So it doesn't have to be pictures, but Word documents and important things that, well, what if I wanted that on the computer in the other room? Well, you can get one of these, right? Save it to this and you can walk it over to the other room and plug it in. What if this was broke or you didn't have it? If you saved it in the Dropbox folder, by the time you get into the other room, it'll be in the Dropbox folder on that one too. So it's kind of like a shared hard drive in the sky. So I get a lot of questions about Dropbox when we talk about pictures. If there's any interest in that, we can do a class on that. I only bring it up for that if you think that's something you'd want, shoot me an email, shoot Chuck an email or something, okay?
This Dropbox is shared with everybody then?
It's only you and any computers that you have. So if you had a couple of MacBooks and you were typing some documents here and you saved them in the Dropbox folder and you opened up your laptop, they'd magically be there also. Okay, but it would not be for everybody. It's secure and it's only for you.
You would have those Dropbox class?
I actually have one that we've done a few times at another place, so we could do that anytime if that's of interest. It's just
I'd be interested in somebody in classes just for papers.
okay.
That would be one.
Okay. All right.
There is a way also to put a file into Dropbox and put it there where somebody else can.
Very good
I never
point.
think it's figured out, so.
Well, you got to come to the class. If you put a file in your Dropbox folder, it's typically only for you and your Dropbox devices. But if you put it in one of the special folders called the shared folder, you can then email people a link and they can also get that file. What that's really good for, email will only do pictures and videos that are so big. Anything above 10 to 15 megabytes just won't go by email. It just won't. It's not designed for that. But if you had a 100 meg video of your grandkids that you really wanted to get to somebody, you could put it in your Dropbox folder, in the shared folder, and then other people could see it as well. So that's part of that class, right? If that's of interest or something, now that you guys are experts on file management. Okay. You had a question on the duplicates. Is anybody else interested in even talking about the duplicates?
I have like
A gazillion?
A
That's a real
gazillion.
number. That is. I've checked.
Yeah, it's because I've had several different
Computers
computers
and you
several
get
different
yep.
camera phones, and it
Yep.
seems like each time I plug this into the computer, it downloads all the pictures.
Yep. This is a slippery slope. Okay. So if none of this makes sense, you can leave, or it's interesting to at least hear it. But there is no easy fix. There is no easy fix. However, the first thing you should do, the very first thing, is you should run a full backup of your computer. A complete backup. I don't just mean what a little one. You should run a full backup with one of these, and if you don't know how, we got a class on that. We teach that class and we end up helping people set this up, and it's a godsend. Because my whole computer here, everything is on here, okay? Several times. The reason I say do that before we even talk about this is because if you use shift delete, you know, and you delete pictures, there's no going back. You know, if you, oops, I deleted the wrong one. Oops, you deleted the wrong one. So it's not, it's a slippery slope, and you got to have a full backup, period. Okay? All right. You guys have a nice night. Anybody else wants to go, you go right ahead. There's water there if you're thirsty too.
Thank
I'm gonna be like waterlogged if I drink them. See you guys. Yeah. Bye. Good. Glad you guys came.
Do you have a list of all the classes that you have? Do you have a schedule?
We don't actually have a schedule. We just started doing these here. Bye, Pat.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know your name, but bye. Bye, Judy. Yeah.
It's just that there's a couple of programs I'd like to know about.
Okay. Why don't you call me?
Okay.
Call the office, and if I'm not there, leave me a voicemail. You'll probably have to remind me that I was at the class and I have questions on things, and then I'll call you back. We'll talk about it. Okay?
You don't
Yes.
charge or anything?
I usually do. I forgot them. They actually made me cards. They're all paper cutouts. But no, I usually bring them with me, but I forgot to stack at the office. So if you call the office, there's only one Paul there. They'll get you to me. You had a question?
At the very beginning, you talked about the box of photos.
Yes.
What about 35 millimeter Kodachrome?
Fantastic question. Also, home movies.
How do you get from those slides?
Yep. There's an adapter. Again, it's torture if you do it yourself, but if you got a couple of them, it's okay. But really, it's grueling. I've done it for many years, and it's grueling. There's an adapter on my scanner. You put it on there, and you slide the film into it, and you tell the scanning software, hey, this is a negative. So it goes and it gets it, and then, of course, it negatives it, makes it a real picture on the screen. But if you got a bag of them or a ton of them, the same place that I'm talking about, you ship that stuff off, you let them throw it in their great big machines, they'll charge you $50 or $100 or whatever it is, and you'll get a disc full or a chip full of everything, and you'll get, like, you know, months of your life back
And
too.
then we can sort them.
And you can sort them any way you want.
I mean, we have, yeah.
The-
Yeah, that's what I
Yes,
did.
but
Right, sort of the box
if
under the bed.
when I did it, I sent them. They were little home movies. You know, remember the old movie reels? What they asked us to do was just write on them what each one was. So then each of the movies came back as an individual file. So the pictures, I'm guessing, will be the same thing. They'll ask you if there's any way, you know, you can put them in bags or boxes, and then they can send them to you, so they make a semblance of order when you get them back.
Yeah, but how about the photo? That's what you should do the same to that.
And if you can't, you got the technique now where you can look at the pictures and you can figure it all out and rename them right there on the screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so
And
once
so
you
you
get them,
can edit these when they come back to us.
That's
Then we
correct.
can take
There'll
them.
be nothing but JPEG pictures, just like you were working on
what was the
tonight.
name you said send them to?
Home Movie Depot is the place that I have used.
Oh,
Thanks, man.
Thank you. I wish
Appreciate
that
you
I had more time. I
That's
have
all
another
right.
appointment.
That's all right.
Very informative. Thank
Good.
you so much.
Thanks for coming. Home Movie Depot. It's a place, I think it's in Missouri, and I shipped a bunch of stuff to them, and it had great results. Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that several years ago, my brother and I sent my dad's 35 millimeter film.
Yeah.
We went to a photo shop, I
Yep.
don't remember which one it was down
Yep.
in the cities, and we just gave it to them and said, can you put them? They said, how do you want them? And we said, just put them on a DVD.
Yep.
And so they did that, and they said, do you want music with it? We said, whatever, the music. And that was our mistake, because the music came back like, oh my God.
Mute. Mute.
It was just,
All right.
yeah.
Well, are you leaving, Donnie, or you want to talk about?
Boss wants to go to town, I gotta take
Well,
off.
Why don't you call me? Then let's sit down. I can show you some techniques, but there ain't no easy answer.
Can you sort all your pictures by date?
Yes. This is.
Well, I
Let me
think
show
that's
you.
a start.
Okay, you want to see how to do that quick?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think I
sure
can figure it out.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. See my total faith and trust. So I'm in the pictures folder, right?
Yep.
Now it's important that you don't look at them like this.
Right.
It's important that you look at them as details. Okay? But now they're all JPEGs, right? Okay. So if I look for JPG up here, they all came back to me, right? But they're not the way I want them. I've got to have them in the details. But so now if I had 4 million pictures right now, they'd all be in there, right? If I went to this column right here and I clicked that, I'm now sorting by date. If I click this column, I'm sorting by size. If I click it again, it's smallest to biggest. If I click it again, it's oldest to newest. See that? So if you had 4,000 pictures here, you could then scroll down, like these first couple are from 2008. So
Get
that's,
rid of duplicates, yeah.
yep, including duplicates. Now, here's the thing, Donnie. Up here, if you right-click over here,
Yep.
okay, not here, but right there, you can add things here, like this one,
Oh, okay.
date taken.
Ah,
Because the date it was taken is usually embedded into the picture. Now, that may not be the same thing as the date on the file, because that's the day you copied it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, now once you've added that column, now you can sort by that column, which of course on mine is going to virtually be the same. But now once you get them sorted, then you can screw around with them, like take a group of pictures out, put them in a folder,
Yep.
and sort them. That is the only way I know of. There's no easy way because it's your eyeballs looking at it. So, but
Yeah,
that
that's awesome.
technique will work.
I gotta run the boxes.
Thanks for coming. Well, anybody got any questions? Yeah?
I got one other one.
All right.
Totally off the subject.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Nice to see
I
you.
just gotta go to the bathroom.
It's right around the corner. All right, down the hall. Well, there's two of them. Well, I guess I better stop this thing.